Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen. It is Lettermen Live. It is presented by Wendy's. No, it's not on a Thursday. No, it's not on a Friday. It's on a Saturday because Tim May, the 41-year vet, and I, our days are basically just running together at this point. Tim, the last time I checked, it is 2025, though. So Happy New Year to you. Happy New Year to all of the folks out there watching the Lettermen Live presented by Wendy's.
Happy New Year to you, Spence. Happy New Year.
Yeah,
Even though we were together on New Year.
Yeah, we are back home, both back in the greater Columbus area after being in Pasadena for an all-time butt-kicking. Ohio State 41, Oregon 21. Not all-time in the sense of margin of victory, but all-time in a sense of the emphatic level of dominance, the way that Ohio State did what it did to the number one team in the country, the undefeated number one team in the country, previously undefeated now. And their season's over. The most impressive comprehensive win I've seen Ohio State have in my time on the beat since 2019. It almost reminded me, Tim, there are plenty of things that I've been searching for. I know Ohio State has been searching for this win. One thing that I'm always searching
for. Wait a minute, that was such an open-ended invitation, but go ahead.
One of the things I've always been searching for is the perfect lunch, and the perfect lunch is the Wendy's Saucy Nugs. You've had Wendy's Nugs dipped in sauce, but have you had them covered in sauce? Wendy's new Saucy Nugs take the crispy and spicy nugs you love and turn them up to 11. Choose between flavors like buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, or if you're a real heat seeker yourself, try Wendy's spicy ghost pepper only on Wendy's signature spicy nug. That's 11 delicious ways to try the nugs you already love. Pick a flavor, grab some extra napkins, and prepare to nug like you've never nugged before. For a whole new way to nug, it's got to be Wendy's, a participating U.S. Wendy's. Tim, Ohio State's been searching for that kind of performance all year. I don't even think that that's what they got against Tennessee. This was more complete than that. It was more dominant than that, and it was more cathartic than that in the way that they beat Oregon, considering what happened on October 12th. We've both rewatched a lot of that game and we've been trying to travel back. We've also been, excuse me if I cough or anything or have a cough drop in. I'm still getting over that cough. You guys know I already had. What's your impression now after this comprehensive beatdown? I was more impressed on the rewatch than I was watching it in person.
That was thorough, and I agreed with what Ryan, said. What was that yesterday? That also there's room for improvement because after getting up 34-0, Ohio State likes to dominate the end of the second quarter, beginning of the third quarter. And it was the opposite of that in this game. It was Oregon getting 2 of its 3 touchdowns in that span, and so there's always room for improvement, no matter how you knock somebody out. This was not a TKO. This was a knockout in the final estimation. But bottom line is the way they came out. It just boggles you. I don't like to bring up the Michigan game because what's done is done. You can't do anything about what's done and done, but you learn from what's done is done, right? And boy, did they learn from that Michigan debacle. Ohio State did. Chip Kelly, Ryan Day, the play calling, the play choicing more than anything else. When you come out and run 2 plays out of your first 3 that I haven't seen before or haven't seen you run before, that means you've done your homework and you've prepared. And look at this. It's a surprise attack, even though everybody knows the attack is coming. And that's what I gave up to them. To get a touchdown in the first minute of the game, 14 minutes left in the first quarter, Ohio State's up 7-0. I'm not sure how many people saw that coming. So that's what I saw. And I saw Ohio State win for the second straight game against a credible opponent, indeed the number 1 team in the country, an undefeated team, win the battle of the trenches on both sides of the ball. When you're doing that, man, you're going places. And Ohio State's going to the Cotton Bowl for the second straight year.
Yeah, it's interesting, Tim. One thing that I noticed that Ohio State did was they were obviously dead set on getting Jeremiah Smith the ball, and they're doing a great job of that right now. Here's the other thing they're doing, though. They're not worrying about whether teams are bracketing him. They're not worrying about whether teams are double teaming him. One thing I was very confused by was the fact that Oregon seemed like they thought maybe their corners were just better than Tennessee's. And they weren't, which was great news for Ohio State. But like that 3rd and 4, I think, which really I think it ended the game, if we're being honest. Like, you got Ohio State at 3rd and 4 I think it's like the 21-yard line. I think it's like 7 or 14 to nothing at that point. And Will Howard sees Jeremiah Smith one-on-one. Of course, he's got safety help over the top, but Will Howard can make that pocket throw. And if Jeremiah's one-on-one, even if he does have safety help over the top, just throw it out there for him. Oregon thought it could win that rep, and Ohio State knew it couldn't. And it's not that Ohio State was better than Oregon on Wednesday in the Rose Bowl. It's that Ohio State was more confident in its playmakers making those plays than I've ever seen Ohio State. Because traditionally we would see Ohio State say, oh, they've got help over the top on Jeremiah. What's my second read? And Will Howard's just like, no, there's help over the top on him, but I can make that throw and he can make that catch. I'm going to do it. This is the most confident I've ever seen Ohio State play. Oh. Even more confident than the 2019 team in those first couple minutes against Clemson. That punch that they threw to go up 16-0 against Clemson, like they still got stopped in the red zone. Like this was deep shot after deep shot after deep shot of this team just like not relenting. And not only does it take a certain skill level to do that, Tim, it takes like max confidence to do that.
I thought Ohio State was pretty confident in 2020 against Clemson when they just
that's true.
With Olave and Wilson and stuff, I thought that this reminded me to a certain extent of that. I mean, just you can't cover this guy even though you think you've got this guy covered. We've been saying that all along. I've been saying it all along. Put it up to this guy, give him a shot, and now the whole world has discovered what we've been seeing for a while, and it was the word I would use. It was fun to watch.
Yeah,
that's the first 29 minutes of that game. I'm talking about by game clock. Were fun to watch, and then from then on, it was apropos they played Hang On Sloopy in the second half, because from then on it was just people scrambling on their cell phones trying to get tickets to Dallas, trying to get tickets to the Cotton Bowl, because it's on, baby, it's on.
Yeah, Ohio State, Texas is going to be awesome. We're going to do a Lettermen Live presented by Wendy's, actually live from the Cotton Bowl at some point. We'll figure out exactly time and date. Once we get down there, Tim, we'll figure out where we could do it and what the internet situations are around there. But we'll try to do something in person live, which should be a lot of fun for you and I, and talk Ohio State, Texas from down in boots on the ground coverage down there in Texas, cowboy boots on the ground coverage, if you will. I'll bring my boots
every day when I used to wear them every day when I grew up down there, but that's another story.
I bet you did, Tim. Let's talk this offense, because not only was it Jeremiah Smith, not only was it Emeka Egbuka there, lighting the fire under this team. I thought the offensive line was fantastic. There are reps that you're going to watch where Luke Montgomery gets beat by Derek Harmon. There are reps that you're going to watch where Jordan Birch gets the best of Josh Fryer. Who cares? They won more reps than they lost. They won a lot more reps than they lost. And those Oregon defensive linemen are very, very good players. Like, that's one of the 3 or 4 best defensive lines in college football this year. You have 2 bona fide NFL players at defensive end in Mateo Uiagalelei and Jordan Birch. Birch had I thought what was a tackle for loss or a sack, but it was more of a 0-yard gain.
Right.
So I guess he doesn't get credit for that, which, oh well. Mateo Uiagalelei did absolutely nothing in this game. And then Harmon was kind of controlled. It was the most impressive performance I've seen from this Ohio State offensive line since Josh Simmons went down. I think it was more impressive than what they did to Penn State, to be honest, because Abdul Carter still got his. He had 2 sacks in that game. Like, this was absolutely nothing from the Oregon defensive line. And you could feel that in the stadium. This offensive line right now for Ohio State is playing really good football. It's a testament to what they were able to do. It's also a testament to Justin Fry and his development, what he's done for this line.
Am I supposed to talk now?
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm just messing with you. No, I told you my favorite. I even asked Ryan about it. I think you were listening when I was on the teleconference yesterday. But I said my favorite, I didn't say it to him, but my favorite play was the second touchdown pass to Jeremiah Smith, because I got fixated as that play quickly developed on the hand-to-hand battle between Donovan Jackson and Jordan Birch. The monster from Eugene, who, like you said, had one tackle of note, and the rest of the time, where was he? The guy that everybody feared. And I'm not knocking him, but this Ohio State offensive line has come of age, this seventh iteration of it, which includes shuttling guards, playing three guards in two spots, as every other possession seems to go. But that hand-to-hand combat between Donovan Jackson and Jordan Birch was just vicious, and Donovan Jackson won. It was quite cool to watch. And I keep thinking the guards are the poster children for this line. I think it's Donovan Jackson.
Yeah.
And Josh Fryer obviously is playing his rear end off, but he's played in the same spot, for 14 games now. So he ought to be used to it. Donovan Jackson switched from left guard to left tackle, as we all know, after the Zen Mikulski injury, which came in near the end of the narrow win over Nebraska 2 weeks after the loss at Oregon. And Donovan Jackson, I think, is, showed himself at Penn State, which just knocked down, dynamited its old press box. Adios, RIP, old press box, because boy, were you a clunker. But the bottom line is the way Donovan Jackson switched over, and you could argue he's playing as well, if not better, than any left tackle left in college football this year.
Yeah.
There's only 4 teams left. And I just think it's remarkable what he has done. It's too bad they don't pick some of these All-American teams, et cetera, after the playoffs when they should be picking them, because Donovan Jackson is having a hell of a month.
Yeah, I mean, he's been everything you would want. Like, you went against James Pierce, first-round pick. Not much in
Josh Fryer too, man.
Yeah, not much in the stat department for James Pierce and that Tennessee defensive edge grouping. They went against Jordan Birch and Mateo Uyunglele, like I said, and some blitzing linebackers and stuff like that. Like the twists and things that Oregon did in this defensive line, it didn't matter. These offensive tackles are playing at an extremely, extremely high level. And I know I've been accused in the past of sticking up for Justin Fry because I think his development is good, even if the recruiting hasn't always been there. And I've taken some heat for that. I don't care. You say whatever you want about me. But this is what I was talking about. It's not, the recruiting has not been good enough. And I understand that. But when these guys get on campus, not only they want to play for Justin Fry, but they develop under him. And it's starting to show. You've given not only, think about the Michigan game. That game was played 10 days after Seth McLaughlin tore his Achilles. 10 days. So they had 10 days to install a plan to block the 2 best defensive tackles in the country. Now, did they do a good job with that plan? Absolutely not. But it's almost understandable now in hindsight that hey, they didn't really have a good plan on the interior of that offensive line until they got 3 weeks to patch it out. And now that they have against Tennessee and Oregon, it's whoa, they figured it out. And yeah, they're airing the ball down the field more. Yeah, they're getting Jeremiah Smith and Egbuka more touches. Yeah, they're doing everything more, outside and spread you out and kill you from there. And I get that. And it's still completely fair to be really angry about the Michigan game and what this coaching staff did to the entire program with that loss to Michigan. But man, you look at the coaching job they did in the 3 weeks between that Michigan disaster and Tennessee with this offensive line, and then to do it again against an even better unit in Oregon. The only thing, Tim, here is I think they've got to do it one more time, because I think the best defensive line that they could face left in this is that one at Texas.
Yeah.
So, they're going to have to do it again.
Yeah. It's funny because what a schedule. When you look at it in microcosm, what a schedule for Ohio State. And then they're going against they'll be going against the freshman of the year also as they block that Texas defensive front, the national freshman of the year. What's that kid's name? I keep forgetting his name.
Colin Simmons.
Yeah. Yeah. The freshman of the year. Wow. Well, I bet those people wish they had that vote back. But not that that young man isn't good, but Jeremiah Smith, now I can say it, he's the best freshman wide receiver I've ever seen at Ohio State. He might be the best freshman wide receiver, period, that you've ever seen anywhere. But I digress. You know, it will be a challenge for Ohio State because really Texas's defense is what's carrying it right now when you think about it.
Oh yeah.
And this vaunted offense with Quinn Ewers and Steve Sarkisian calling the plays, you know, it's kind of hit some mud puddles of late. Yet there they are sitting in the national semifinal, which is where everybody wanted to be at this point in the season. There's Ohio State and Texas headed, 5, 6, 7, 8 seeds, or what's left in the college football playoff. And by the way, jumping on the other side of the ball, I keep contending, and based on the way he played against Oregon, Cody Simon's the best linebacker in the country. He's been the best linebacker in the country for a couple of months now based on the way he has played. And to me, it started in that fourth quarter against Nebraska when they needed some stops, especially that last stop they got. And I just think he's playing on another level. And I don't think he's being heralded enough for it. Jim Knowles has heralded him. I mean, he named him the defensive player of the game after the win over Oregon. But the first play he made in that game out in the flat when he had that arm tackle, it looked like Oregon might have had something going there with a little quick pitch right. And Cody Simon, just like a blur, at least from our vantage point, was a blur making that tackle, open field tackle. From then on, he once again was on another level. So he needs to get more due than he needs to get his just due, I guess, is what I'm saying, as they head into the semifinals.
Tim, I just think that this Ohio State team is proof that there needs to be a long, thorough conversation about how we do awards in college football.
National awards, yeah.
Donovan Jackson should be an All-American at left tackle at this point.
Yes.
Or even just an All-American offensive lineman. Because I think
Cody Simon should be at least a finalist for the Buckeyes.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, Jeremiah Smith would definitely be taking home the Freshman of the Year award. And I think he would be a first-team All-American because he wasn't. He was a second-team All-American this year, consensus-wise. Like, he was not an All-American. And it's very, very clear, very, very, very clear right now that he is the best wide receiver in college football. With respect to Travis Hunter, who won the Heisman Trophy because he does so many things at both two positions.
And the Biletnikoff Award.
Exactly. And I'm a voter for the Biletnikoff. And when they sent me that, they sent us that ballot. It was like November 6th. And I was like, guys, Jeremiah Smith might play 10 more games.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Yeah.
And
you got an award show coming, man. You got to have the winner.
You want me to judge something off of 7 games when this guy might play, 8 more, 9 more games?
He's kind of the Zeke Elliott of 2014 to 2015 playoffs or championship game. Yeah, he saved his best for last. You know who else is playing at a very high level? Is the Ohio State backfield led by Will Howard. Will Howard didn't have over-the-top numbers against Oregon, but, man, when he had to be on point, he was on point. And, it is what it is at this point, right?
Yeah. 17 of 26, 319 yards and 3 touchdowns. He was 9 yards shy of his career high in passing, which came in 2023 in an overtime loss to the Texas Longhorns.
University of Texas.
Yeah, I mean, a little full circle moment here for Will. Trayvon Henderson and Quinshon Judkins. Henderson, 8 carries, 94 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He had a long of 66. Very workmanlike for Trey. 4 yards. Here's his carries other than the 66-yard touchdown run. 4 yards, 3 yards, 8 yards, 7 yards, 5 yards, -2 yards, and 3 yards. All that to say, the 66 is great, but it's a lot of the same of what we saw from Trayvon Henderson throughout his career. It's a little boom or bust. if we're being honest, and that's okay. Like, that's what he is. That's who he's always been. Whereas Quinshon Judkins gets the rock 17 times for 85 yards. He's got a 15-yard, a 12-yard run, an 18-yard run mixed in there with a bunch of twos and threes and fives. This running back group, Tim, Trevion 11.8 yards a carry, Quinshon 5 yards a carry. Like, if Quinshon's getting 5 yards a carry, you're doing something right on 17 carries. Like, those are good numbers for this Ohio State run game. They're not going to ever be a team in this playoff. Well, maybe they will against Texas's run defense.
Yeah.
That's like 8 yards a carry for the game on 28 carries. But if Quinshon's averaging 5 yards a carry on 17 carries, I think they're doing something incredibly right in the backfield. I thought both those guys looked as fresh as they could look for a January 1st college football game, and neither of them got the ball that many times. Right. So I think you should expect to see them just as healthy and quick and fresh and rested in the Cotton Bowl that you just did in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, but that's what happens. Carry numbers and everything else kind of pale when you get 3 touchdown plays of over 40 yards. That's a lot of plays that don't happen because one play did the job. But think about. I just keep thinking about this season. This postseason has been a retribution parade for the Buckeyes. I mean, Jeremiah Smith with the offensive pass interference call against him the first time these guys met, which I think for all intents and purposes kept Ohio State from winning that game. I really do believe Jaden Fielding would have made a field goal, but they might have scored a touchdown after that catch down to the 19, 18-yard line by Jeremiah Smith, but called for the pass interference. And we all know what happened in the last 20, 30 seconds of that game. Then you look at this offensive line. Here it goes into the Cotton Bowl. The worst offensive line performance I think I ever saw live from an Ohio State football team. And I've seen a lot of them live, 41 seasons covering this thing against Missouri last year. Here they have a chance for retribution. Here's Travion Henderson with that breakaway run at Oregon in the first meeting, but got caught at the 3-yard line or whatever it was. He took it to the house. That was his intent. If you watch that little video I posted on Lettermen Row on Twitter and Lettermen Row, that was his intent, was to finish, and he did, because, you've seen teams all the time get caught at the 2, 3, 4-yard line and then don't push the ball on into the end zone those next 3 or 4 plays. He finished, what was that? 4 touchdowns over 40, 44 yards or whatever it was. 4 touchdown plays. That's crazy, man. They got even. It was retribution for all the big plays that Oregon hit on them in the first meeting. And just right on down the line, you can name a bunch of other examples. But just the way this running attack just seems to throw the right thing in there the last 2 games at the right time. Travion and Quinshon with 2 touchdown runs each against Tennessee. Thunder and lightning, I think, has finally rolled in to the picture for the Buckeyes.
Yeah, I don't normally do this because, we do our own work here. And I also don't normally do this because I don't like this person. But Emmanuel Acho, I think from Fox Sports, did a breakdown of the Jeremiah Smith, how did he get so wide open touchdown, and, talked about the 4-by-1 formation that Ohio State did there, talked about the way that Chip Kelly manipulated the Oregon defense into getting them to lose track of Jeremiah Smith, which is such an incredible thing to say, lose track of Jeremiah Smith. But
the way Jeremiah Smith made them lose track of Jeremiah Smith.
Correct. Mixed with the ability of Jeremiah. I thought it was a good film breakdown.
I did too.
And whenever I see something good, no matter who the person is, again, not a big fan of Acho over there, but that's fine. I thought that was great because it kind of put into words for fans. And if I encourage you to go watch it, like on social media, like just showed like everything is clicking right now. Because to be honest, Tim, like on the Monday after, which we normally do, but this is kind of like that, but it's also Lettermen Live presented by Wendy's. Like we normally go through it position by position, just be like, oh, well, how do you think they did? They all did great. Okay. Like, find me a position that didn't play well in this game. We don't have to do that this time. We can just go, little by little and pick what we want to talk about because they played so well. We'll get to the defense.
Davis and Egbuka.
Yeah.
They had great games. I mean,
Yeah.
Denzel Burke, the closest they came to throwing one on him, he was the closest guy to the ball to maybe make a pickoff there on that post cut that Gabriel just threw out there, yeah. I mean, and Egbuka was so close on the guy without holding him that the ball went off his helmet. Yeah. I mean, you can't cover a guy maybe better than that. So crazy.
All of that is to say, like, that play, I think, perfectly encapsulated, like, the offensive line held up great, so much so that Carson Hinsman pulled around to help with that moved pocket that they did, and he had nobody to block. He was just shuffling his feet. The offensive line stonewalled Oregon on that play. Oregon, I think, dropped 6 or 7 into coverage. Jeremiah Smith still finds a way to get open because he's executing at a high level. Will Howard knows that he doesn't have to put it directly on Jeremiah because he's so open, so he lofts one out there. Whereas, in the beginning of the year, we would have said, well, is he still okay with the deep ball, even though he scored a touchdown there, because he didn't put it out in front of him. He was putting different deep balls out in front of guys early and later on into the game. So, that he's got that in the arsenal now. His footwork looks better. Look at the other guys and the way that they ran the routes, knowing that ball was going to Jeremiah, but still ran the routes with such precision that everybody else was open. I'm telling you, Tim, when this team is executing at this level, it is an absolute buzzsaw. And Texas can't beat it, and Penn State can't beat it, and Notre Dame can't beat it.
Now, don't get out over your skis, as they say.
No, what I'm saying.
Ski jumping.
I'm saying when this team is executing, like on that play, like on the touchdown pass from Egbuka. No, I can't talk with this throat.
That's funny. You've been covering him for 4 years.
I know. It's these cough drops, Tim. Egbuka. That throw was also manipulating defenses. When everything is clicking, nobody's beating this team. Nobody.
First, I want to say this. Iamaliava.
There you go. Now you got to do Uiagalelei.
Yeah, that's in my Hall of Fame of very easy to pronounce that I can't pronounce, Iamaliava. But I digress definitely on that one, right?
Yeah.
No, you're exactly right. But I'm telling you, my 2 favorite blocks in this game was the one I delineated a minute ago, Donovan Jackson on that like you're talking about that last touchdown throw to Jeremiah Smith, and the other was Donovan Jackson coming all the way to the edge and throwing a great block to help spring Travion Henderson on his 66-yard run. Donovan Jackson wants a national championship. You can see by the way he's playing. You can see the zest with which he's playing and the way he's leading that offensive line. He and Josh Fryer, man. I think they're getting their credit, but maybe not enough credit just by the level of ball at which they're playing the last couple of weeks.
Who also deserves a lot of credit here, Tim, is my friends over at Wendy's for what they do for us, what they do for this great nation. The Saucy Nugs.
Wow, that's over the top.
Oh yeah,
but it is, man. You can pull in a Wendy's in Las Vegas or a Wendy's in California or a Wendy's in Columbus, Ohio, and you get quality food, baby.
Yeah, it's the consistency of the taste, Tim. That's what I'm looking for, especially when I get my saucy nugs, because you've had nugs dipped in sauce, but the covered in sauce nugs, I'm telling you. Wendy's new saucy nugs take the signature crispy and spicy nugs you love and turn them up to 11. Choose between flavors like buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm, the real heat seekers, the ball knowers. They try Wendy's signature spicy ghost pepper nuggets with the spicy ghost pepper sauce with the spicy nuggets. That's 11 delicious ways to try the nugs you already love. Pick a flavor, grab some extra napkins, and prepare to nug like you've never nugged before. For a whole new way to nug, it's got to be Wendy's. They're participating U.S. Wendy's. That's right, participating U.S. Wendy's nationwide. They're saving this nation, Tim, one nug at a time.
Hey,
and I gotta
founded in Columbus, man, and goes from there. And number 2, I may have to try those ghost pepper sauce just for once. But I like my nugs plain where I can dip them.
Can you do it on camera?
Yeah, I can. Okay. I can do that.
We'll see if
they're savory. They're savory, but not over the top. You know what I mean? I wouldn't go crazy. But I've told you my favorite is the Cobb salad and with an order of six-piece order of nugs. That goes a long way for Tim May. Also, you can't beat the junior bacon cheeseburger, the best buy on the market.
Long way.
I wasn't even solicited for a commercial. I've always been a Wendy's guy. Ever since I moved up here, the first thing I did was go get a Wendy's triple. I told you that. That was back when a Wendy's triple was a thing back in 1976.
I think A Long Way should be your book title, your autobiography title, because then it could say A Long Way by Tim May.
Yeah. By the way, I came up with the book title Wrong Turn a long time ago, and then somebody, in essence, stole it out of my head. But about people who come to that fork in the road and they go the wrong way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's it looks like that's what Dylan Gabriel, Dan Lanning, and the Oregon Ducks did against Ohio State. I mean, dude, the Ohio State defense was all over them from the start. It was like a flip of a game when you consider the pressure they got on Will Howard at times in that game. And Ohio State had no sacks the first time around in Eugene. And then, playing Eugene. But then we get the fancy Hollywood Rose Bowl Pasadena. I mean, Jack Sawyer and JT Tuimoloau and Tyleek Williams and Ty Hamilton, and then throw Caden Curry and Kenyatta Jackson in there just for fun. What a game the Ohio State defensive front had against those guys second time around.
Yeah, Ohio State had 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. Oregon had 2 first downs. Ohio State in the first quarter the total yards was 233 to 37. Oregon had 4 rushes of 1.8 yards per carry, 7 yards rushing in the first quarter, 13 plays, 2.8 yards per play, and 6 minutes time of possession. They had 3 punts in the first quarter. Ohio State had 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. All of that's to say, Tim, this defense is smothering from the jump. There's no figuring you out anymore. There were times where we talked about is Jim Knowles, and to an extent Chip Kelly too, but I think Jim Knowles more. They gave up a field goal to Akron to start the game, and I know that's way back in August, but it was just an example of one of these times.
Come from behind win. Yeah, it was a come from behind win.
I know you talked to Ryan about that.
So was Northwestern.
Northwestern had a good drive to start the game. I think Nebraska had a good drive to start the game, and then this
Marshall
defense. Marshall. We've talked a lot this year about Jim Knowles almost being a feel you out defensive coordinator, and the second and third drive being the drives where they just start to suffocate you and lay on you. This defense, all of a sudden, though, is not having the fear of, well, what if we can't feel them out in the first drive? They're just going, and I've never seen a textbook play on the first play of the game the way Cody Simon had one. And I know you already talked about it, but Jordan James gets a handoff, and he goes to the right side. Cody Simon shuffles his feet, then sees the lane that Jordan James is going to see, shoots his guns and attacks, and gets there behind the line of scrimmage and drops Jordan James for, I think, a 2-yard loss, sets up 2nd and 12. Not only was it a textbook play by a senior linebacker and leader who sets the tone for the entire game, it was just a precursor of everything that they were going to do all game. It was so relentless. And so my saucy take here, my Wendy's saucy take, is that Cody Simon is the best Ohio State linebacker since, man.
It's a lot of dead air, man. You better come.
I don't want to. I know, but I don't want to get in trouble.
What do you mean get in trouble?
I don't want to
say what you think. I already said Cody Simon's the best linebacker in the country at this point. Since basically the fourth quarter of the Nebraska game onward. He's been playing at a totally different level.
I'll do it this way. He is a 2014 style linebacker in this right now. Josh Perry was needed on that defense in 2014 for them to win a national championship. Was he the best player on the defense? No. I think if I talk to Josh about this right now, he might agree with me too. And maybe I will. Maybe I'll get a hold of Josh. You help me do that. If you watch the 2014 team,
May show this week, but go ahead.
Yeah, if you watch, and so throw this out to him, see what he thinks. If you watch the 2014 team, Was Josh the best player on that defense? Absolutely not. They had a Bosa. They had Darren Lee. They had those corners. Like the Von Bell was incredible. Like they were so good at every level that you knew that Josh Perry was going to be in position to make tackles, but he wasn't going to get any credit. Cody Simon is in such good position to make so many different plays, and he doesn't get the credit that he deserves, but damn is he good. And like if you just isolated zero on the screen, it's like, oh my gosh, like what did he do wrong in this game? And like if we get to talk to James Laurinaitis, I'm going to ask him, like, did Cody do anything that you had to show on film? Like, hey, you got to do this better. I don't, because you'd have to get really in the weeds. So there, my saucy take is that if they win the championship, Cody Simon will be remembered like Josh Perry, because the right place at the right time at all times, getting this defense ready, lined up. It's incredible what Cody Simon's doing. And we could spend another 45 minutes, which we're not going to, talking about all these individual guys on this defense, but zero stirs the drink, man. And he's playing really, really well.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was saying. That's what I was talking about earlier. And the thing about Cody Simon is if he does get his hands on you, he tackles you. I mean, yeah, that's the bottom line. I mean, we can talk all we want to about this, that, and the other. Bottom line is, does he tackle the guy? And yes, he tackles the guy. The other guy who maybe we're going to finish with here, but the other guy that is worth whatever NIL money comes his way is Caleb Downs. Caleb Downs is playing like an All-American safety. Lathan Ransom is also. But I just look at this defense, and when you've got two safeties playing at the level they're playing, that's tough to beat. It's too bad there was that one play near the end of the first half where it was a long I can't remember who caught the ball, but Lathan was kind of like laid back deep, and he caught the ball, and the Oregon receiver caught it and then kind of eluded him and went down and set up their first touchdown, which ended up coming on the last play of the first half. That was a huge score for Oregon, just to say, yes, we showed up for the New Year's party.
Yeah.
We were late. We drank half our champagne on the way here, but we're here. But Lathan just continues to play on a high level, but nobody's playing at a better level of just getting in the pictures. I keep saying it, man, getting in that last frame, no matter where the play is. There's number 2, Caleb Downs, and the twos on this team, Caleb Downs and Emeka Egbuka. Wow. I'm not sure you find two better twos in the nation than those two. But Caleb Downs, final answer for the guy that just brings it every play and is a factor somehow, some way on almost every play, even though he may not get credit for a tackle.
Yeah, Ohio State's winning with a pair of twos, Tim.
That's right, man. Watch out for that bluff.
There's an ace in the river, and they're winning with
Deuces Wild. They're actually winning with Deuces Wild is what they're winning with.
Ace high and a pair of twos. I'm also impressed, and we'll just go through a few defensive guys that kind of caught our eye on the rewatch.
We're just going to name everybody?
No.
You're not? Who would you leave out? Maybe that's the better way to go about this segment.
Well, I was going to do this. Some of the guys on the beat and I on the way back to the hotel from the Rose Bowl, I threw the question out there. I said, hey, just for fun, and I encourage Ohio State fans to try this. It's just a thought exercise. All 11 of these guys are playing incredible football right now, and it's all kind of simpatico, like they're playing really well together.
Yes, they are.
Find the one of the 11, the one starter out of the 11 that is playing the worst right now, and try to justify it, because Jordan Hancock is playing at an extremely high level.
Bingo.
It's definitely not Lathan Ransom and Caleb Downs. It's definitely not JT Tuimoloau and Jack Sawyer. Davis Igbenogson hasn't had a penalty in 2 games against 2 of the better offenses he's seen all year. Denzel Burke isn't even giving up catches right now. The defensive line is wrecking offensive lines that it wasn't supposed to do this to. I settled on, as an answer, having to say Sonny Styles. He's playing the best football he's played all year.
See, I wouldn't name anybody because
exactly.
I zeroed in on, the great thing about sitting up there in the press box or media box is you can zero in on people. Like I told you, I was more fixated on Donovan Jackson than I was Jeremiah Smith on that touchdown, that second touchdown. I watched Sonny Styles fly around. I watched him do what I call that gull move on several tackles, where you just throw your arms out there and just fly into people. Sonny Styles is playing, I think, his best football.
Correct.
Since he's been at Ohio State right now, and you lump him in there with Cody Simon, you got something going on. And then I look at Caden Curry, that backside coming off the backside for that one sack, when Dylan Gabriel rolled left and set up like, hey, nobody's going to bother me on this one, just like in that first game. And here comes Caden Curry, special delivery, Courier knives. But and then Kenyatta Jackson also.
You stole my name, Tim.
I know, but this isn't gushing. Turn on the video, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't believe us. This team, like Ryan Day said, if you're going to be, I'm paraphrasing what he said, but if you're going to be coming together and you're going to be playing great, and every week raising your level, raising the bar like high jumpers, you've already got the conference mark. Now you're going for the national record and maybe the international world record. That's what this defense has been doing, and it's everybody's doing it. Everybody is playing a big role at times. You can point to every person on this defense and they all made one individual great play against Oregon. It's crazy how it has come together, and at the heart of it all is Jim Knowles and his coaching staff.
It's remarkable, Tim.
And his scheme. The scheme is don't get in the way of great players playing. Like and said, play a few games up front to mess with the minds, not just the bodies, but the minds of the offensive line. You got something going for you. You don't make every play, but boy, when your team's up 34-0, two things have happened. Your offense has gotten off to a great start, and so is your defense.
Like I said, Tim, trying to name the guy who's playing the worst on this defense is like picking your favorite kid.
I don't think we should go to that category.
Exactly. No, that's what I'm saying. It's like picking your favorite kid. It's like picking your favorite kid, except all of them have Olympic gold medals. well,
they all got participation medals, that's for sure.
Yeah, so it's like, well, I don't know which one of these was the best gold medal, but they're all the best at what they do. Because right now, this defense looks like they're all individually the best at what they do. And I know that's not what it is. Here's the deal, Tim. We're going to get out of here, but I'm going to give us just one thing. One thing in our first talk. This is the first time we've talked since we were on the field at the Rose Bowl. One thing that you are like dead set on as a storyline for this Ohio State-Texas game.
You can't let Quinn Ewers run around and then still steal your heart, make some dagger plays, scrambling. Because I think when they set piece-wise, when they go against Texas's offense, they match up. Ohio State's defense matches up extremely well. It's interesting. We finished talking about the defense. I think this defense matches up very well with what Texas initially wants to do on plays. The problem is going to be containing Quinn Ewers, who I don't think is having to this point has had a great last several games, not much less postseason, but they're finding ways to get wins over the last several weeks, including against Texas A&M. But this is you just can't let Quinn Ewers cut your heart out after you've already put him on the operating table. Keep the scalpel in your hands.
Yeah,
that's about as deep as I want to go with that analogy, which was running out of steam.
Mine is that I think this is like if Ohio State needed extra motivation in each of these first two games, first one, Tennessee has a lot of fans in your stadium and comes in thinking they're going to beat you in the horseshoe. There's some motivation to keep playing. Second one is this team beat you by one. You feel like you got robbed in that game. Go win that game. This one doesn't lack for those, Tim. You got Quinn Ewers, who came in with all these 2021 guys, is the highest rated one of all of them. and then just completely left them. And these guys have been there for 4 years now. They want to beat Quinn Ewers. Second of all, Jeremiah Smith is going to play on the same field as Colin Simmons, who just beat him for the Freshman of the Year award. Not only that, Jeremiah Smith's going to go against the Thorpe Award.
Wait a minute. You're naming way more than one thing.
No, it's all going to reach one point.
Okay.
Jeremiah Smith is going against the Thorpe Award winner, Jadi Barron, who's going to guard him probably on every play. Not only that, but the entire roster thinks that Caleb Downs should have won the Thorpe Award over him, including Jeremiah Smith, who's going to be out to prove that Jadi Barron's not the best defensive back in college football. Everyone talks about the best offensive minds in this sport. First person they run to, Steve Sarkisian. They don't talk about Ryan Day and Chip Kelly. The storylines for this, the motivation for this, not only is it the college ball playoff semifinal, not only are you trying to win a national championship, but the individual little things that make an athlete tick. The individual motivations, the nobody believed in us, even though we were a 29.5-point favorite that some of these coaches can conjure up. Those motivating factors are all there in AT&T Stadium. And I think we're going to get another pissed off Ohio State, just like we got against Tennessee and Oregon. That's my thing I'm watching for here.
I told you, it's the retribution tour for this Ohio State football team.
Yeah.
When you take all of those things in consideration, a return to the Cotton Bowl where they left with their tail between their legs, what was left of their tail, yet JT Tuimoloau and Jack Sawyer had really good games in that Cotton Bowl, especially Jack Sawyer last year against Missouri. But the dam broke in the fourth quarter. They didn't finish, the whole team didn't finish. It was right there for them to still steal, and they couldn't finish. Still steal. Phil Steele's younger brother.
Yeah.
But and then with the idea that if they win this game, they can play in the same place where they missed by 1 point beating Georgia 3 years ago and probably having a sure shot at winning the national championship 3 years ago. Just think about how many people that would have shut up, not just in Buckeye Nation land about Ryan Day, but nationally about the glory of the SEC. If they beat Texas, it'll be the second SEC team they will have beaten in 3 games. So there you go. Retribution Tour is alive and well.
If you can't tell, we're a little excited for Ohio State, Texas. That's why we're going to get there. Tim May, 41-year vet, Spencer Holbrook. Did you notice yesterday, Tim? I don't know. You might not have heard. I called Mick Walker on our video from the Woody Hayes Athletic Center. I called him the 1-year vet.
Yeah.
Since
he's not even that really, but I'm sure it feels like 1 year for him.
Since you're the 41-year vet, he's the 1-year vet. I'm just Spencer Holbrook. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks to Wendy's as always. Go get those Wendy's saucy nugs. 11 delicious ways to try the nugs you already love. There's no better way to do it. Go to Wendy's at participating U.S. Wendy's. Try those saucy nugs right now. Thanks to those guys over at Wendy's. Great partners there. Tim May, the 41-year vet. I'm just Spencer Holbrook. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to Lettermen Live, presented by Wendy's. We'll see you guys down in Arlington for Ohio State, Texas in the Cotton Bowl. Tomorrow we'll be back in the Woody Hayes Athletic Center for interviews with the Buckeyes. And, of course, as always, we'll see you over at Lettermen Row.